Good morning and welcome to another week of First Chapter Friday. I am Miss Holly and I am going to be reading this week's book, which is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. It was recommended by Rick Riordan and I'm a big fan of him, so I thought, oh, that sounds like a really good book. This book is about three people and a adventure that they need to complete. It's a fantasy set in a Roman style world, and the three people are Helene, Elias, and Leah. And the story is told from the perspective of all three of the main characters. We're going to start off with the first chapter, which is written by Leah in her own voice, and we'll start her story. My brother reaches home in the dark hours before dawn, when even ghosts take their rest. He smells of steel and cold and forge. He smells of the enemy. He folds his scarecrow body through the window, feet barely silent on the rush. A hot desert wind blows in after him, rustling the limp curtains. His sketchbook falls to the floor. He nudges it under his bunk with a quick foot as if it was a snake. Where have you been, Darren? In my head. I have the courage to ask the question, and Darren trusts me enough to answer. Why do you keep disappearing? Why when Pop and Nan need you, when I need you? Every night for almost 2 years, I wanted to ask. Every night I've lacked the courage. I have one sibling left. I don't want him to shut me out like he has everyone else. But tonight is different. I know it's in a sketchbook. I know what it means. You shouldn't be awake, Darren whispers, jolting me from my thoughts. He has a cat sense for traps. He got it from our mother. I sit up on the bunk as he lights the lamp. No use pretending to sleep. It's past curfew, and the 3 patrols have gone by. I was worried. I can avoid the soldiers, Leah. Lots of practice. He rests his chin on the bunk and smiles. Mother's sweet, crooked smile, a familiar look, the one he gives me if I wake from a nightmare or we run out of grain. Everything will be fine, the look says. He picks up the book on my bed, Gather in the Night. He reads the title. Spooky. What's it about? I just started it. It's about a djinn, I stop. Clever, very clever. He likes stories as much as I like telling them. Forget that. Where were you? Pop had a dozen patients this morning, and I filled in for you because he can't do so much alone. I left Nan to bottle the Trader's jams by herself, except she didn't finish. Now the traders won't pay us and we'll starve this winter. Why in the skies don't you care? I say these things in my head. The smile's already dropped off Darren's face. I'm not cut out for healing, he says. Pop knows that. I want to look back down, but I think of Pop's slumped shoulders in the morning. I think of the sketchbook. Pop and Nan depend on you. At least talk to them. It's been months. I wait for him to tell me that I don't understand, that I should leave him be, but he just shakes his head, drops down into his bunk, and closes his eyes like he can't be bothered to reply. I saw your drawings. The words tumble out in a rush. And Darren's up in an instant, his face stony. It wasn't spying, I say. One of the pages was loose. I found it when I changed the rushes this morning. Did you tell Nan and Pop? Did they see? No, but... Leah, listen. 10 hells. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear the excuses. What you saw is dangerous, he says. You can't tell anyone about it. Not ever. It's not just my life at risk. There are others. Are you working for the Empire, Darren? Are you working for the Marshals? He is silent. I think I see the answer in his eyes, and I feel ill. My brother is a traitor to his own people? My brother is siding with the Empire? If he hoarded grain or sold books or taught children to read, I'd understand. I'd be proud of him for doing the things I'm not brave enough to do. The Empire raids, jails, and kills for such crimes. But teaching a 6-year-old her letters isn't evil. Not in the minds of my people, the scholar people. But what Darren has done is sick. It's a betrayal. The Empire killed our parents, I whisper, our sister. I want to shout at him, but I choke on the words. The Marshals conquered scholar lands 500 years ago, and since then they've done nothing but oppress and enslave us. Once the scholar empire was home to the finest universities and libraries in the world. Now most of our people can't tell a school from an armory. How could you side with the Marshals? How, Darren? It's not what you think, Leia. I'll explain everything, but... He pauses suddenly, his hand jerked up to silence me when I ask for the promised explanation. He cocks his head toward the window. Through the thin walls, I hear Pop snores, Nan shifting in her sleep, a mourning dove croon, familiar sounds, home sounds. Darren hears something else. The blood drains from his face, and dread flashes in his eyes. Leia, he says, raid. But if you work for the Empire, then why are the soldiers raiding us? I'm not working for them. He sounds calm, calmer than I feel. Hide the sketchbook. That's what they want. That's what they're here for. Then he's out the door, and I'm alone. My bare legs move like cold molasses, my hands like wooden blocks. Hurry, Leia. Usually the Empire raids in the heat of the day. Soldiers want scholar mothers and children to watch. They want fathers and brothers to see another man's family enslaved. As bad as those raids are, the night raids are worse. The night raids are for when the Empire doesn't want witnesses. I wonder if it's real, if it's a nightmare. It's real, Leia. Move! I drop the sketchbook out the window into a hedge. It's a poor hiding place, but I have no time. Nan hobbles into my room, her hands so steady when she stirs vats of jams or braids my hair, flutter like frantic birds, desperate for me to move faster. She pulls me into the hallway. Darren stands with Pop at the back door. My grandfather's white hair is scattered as a haystack and his clothes are wrinkled, but there's no sleep in the deep grooves of his face. He murmurs something to my brother, then hands him Nan's largest kitchen knife. I don't know why he bothers. Against the serried steel of a Marshall blade, the knife will only shatter. You and Darren leave through the backyard, Nan says, her eyes darting from window to window. They haven't surrounded the house yet. No, Nan, I breathe her name, stumbling when she pushes me toward Pop. Hide in the east end of the quarter. Her sentence ends in a choke, her eyes on the front window. Through the ragged curtains, I catch a flash of liquid silver face. My stomach clenches. A mask, Nan says. They've brought a mask. Go, Leia, before he gets inside. What about you? What about Pop? We'll hold them off. Pop shoves me gently out the door. Keep your secrets close, love. Listen to Darren. He'll take care of you. Go. Darren's lean shadow falls over me. He grabs my hand as the door closes behind us. He slouches to bend into the warm night, moving silently across the loose sand of the backyard with confidence I wish I felt. Although I am 17 and old enough to control my fear, I grip his hand like it's the only solid thing in this world. I'm not working for them, Darren said. Then whom is he working for? Somehow he got close enough to the forges of Sarah to draw in the details, creation process of the Empire's most precious asset, the unbreakable curved sims that can cut through 3 men at once. Half a millennium ago, the scholars crumbled beneath the Martial invasion because our blades broke against their superior steel. Since then, we have learned nothing of steelcraft. The Martials hoard their secrets the way a miser hoards gold. Anyone caught near city's forges without good reason, scholar or martial, risks execution. If Darren isn't with the Empire, how did he get near Sarah's forges? How did the marshals find out about the sketchbook? On the other side of the house, a fist pounds on the door. Boots shuffle, steel clinks. I look around wildly, expecting to see the silver armor and red capes of Empire legionnaires. But the backyard is still. The fresh night air does nothing to stop the sweat rolling down my neck. Distantly, I hear the thud of drums from Blackcliff, the mask training school. The sound sharpens my fear into a hard point, stabbing at my center. The Empire sends those silver-faced monsters on just any raid. The pounding on the door sounds again. "In the name of the Empire," an irritated voice says, "I demand you open this door." As one, Darren and I freeze. "Doesn't sound like a mask," Darren whispers. Masks speak softly with words that cut through you like a sim. In the time it would take a legionnaire to knock and issue an order, a mask would already be in the house, weapons slicing through anyone in his way. Darren meets my eyes, and I know we're both thinking the same thing. If the mask isn't with the rest of the soldiers at the front door, where is he? "Don't be afraid, Leia," Darren says. "I won't let anything happen to you." I want to believe him, but my fear is a tide tugging at my ankles, pulling me under. I think of the people that live next door, raided, imprisoned, and sold into slavery 3 weeks ago. Book smugglers, the marshal said. 5 days after that, one of Pop's oldest patients, a 93-year-old man who could barely walk, was executed in his own home, his throat slit from ear to ear. Resistance collaborator. What will the soldiers do to Nan and Pop? Jail them? Enslave them? Kill them? We reach the back gate. Darren stands on his toes to unhook the latch. When a scrape in the alley beyond stops him short, a breeze sighs past, sending a cloud of dust into the air. Darren pushes me behind him. His knuckles are white around the knife. As the gate swings open with a moan, a finger of terror draws a trail up my spine. I peer over my brother's shoulder into the alley. There is nothing out there but the quiet shifting of sand. Nothing but the occasional gust of wind and the shuttered windows of our sleeping neighbors. I sigh in relief and step around Darren. That's when the mask emerges from the darkness and walks through the gates. To find out more, you can check out this book at the library. It is by Sabaa Tahir, and its title is An Ember in the Ashes. It is book 1 of a 3-part trilogy, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.